Top of the morning to you. Hey, I'm Michael, or the grandkids call me Roo. Thanks for joining me at 8:57 on Roodoodles. It's Saturday morning, and the reason I know is because, I slept in almost 3 minutes late today, so that's how I can tell. Been a crazy, crazy week. I'll tell you all about it. Thank you for being on the show. I'm going to say good morning to several of you, and then see what I've got in store. And no, for those of you watching, I don't really wear two pair of glasses. This one is a headband, okay? So most of the time I'll put these on. They're the same thing. They're readers, but I need them. I love them when I'm painting, and it just sort of gives things a little more clarity to me. And so what you're looking at today is you're looking at me, of course, sitting in front of what I always sit in front of. Someday during this, the end of COVID coming up, I might even be forced to get a haircut, but I'm not worried about that too much just yet. Seen a lot of people piling on and joining me this morning. Thank you for coming aboard. And I'm going to get to the point. Let me show you what the desk looks like. There it is right there. I'm drinking a little, keep the tea bag in it. I'm drinking a little Thai Fu tea today. Thai Fu is a close brother to Builders. When you can't get Builders, Builders, of course, is not a sponsor of the show yet, but I'm working on them. You know, they have sent me a nice bag and a hat, and they sent me some tea. Well, that was 332 shows ago. So you California people, get with your Britain people and get me some tea over here. Britain wasn't built on chamomile. So I'm glad you guys are joining me this morning. I've got my tea here, and I just keep the tea. For those of you that think there's something floating in my tea, there is. It's a tea bag, and I just leave it in there. And I like it as it gets more robust as the morning goes on. It keeps me calm. See how calm I am? I am calm. Listening to a little Dvorak today because his music is high weeds. We're going to talk about weeds today. So let me say hello, and let me jump back through this, man. You guys, John Robert Small, thanks for jumping on right away and early this morning. You've been on my head, my heart, my thoughts, because it's I know it's been planting season for a while, and I love the photographs you sent me from the flower fields of Veracruz, and that got me, of course, earlier in the week when you sent me a thing about those zinnias and all those things popping out. It made me think about my own yard, and I looked out the window and went, "That's really scary. What's out there?" Let me go to the shot, and I'll show you here. Yeah, I'm looking out there now, and it's pretty scary. I'm just about to get some grass seed, some grass growing amidst my weeds. That's about what it's like here. So we're going to talk about that. Morning from the galvanating cornfields of Iowa, Bob says. The galvanating, not the galvanation. No, the galvanating. Tamberly Marie, good morning to you. And Susan Crittenden, thank you for being on the show. Trish Brown, what a way to start a Saturday morning. Thank you so much for the Roo crew that's here. And by the way, Roo's crew site, the website that the Facebook page that you guys run, it is off the charts. People are putting paintings on there, and some of you guys are amazing. Some of you, you need to paint 50 more of those things before you turn them loose. But you know what? You're doing it, and that's the power of art. Why are you doing art? Because we're made to create. We're made to be makers. Come on. You know that. Hey, Kathy Moore, thanks for being on the show. Karen Binder, Susan Harrison from a long way off Chinoa. Thank you for being on the show today. Pauline Bold, she says it's going to be 60 in Minnesota. Okay. But I'm still not coming up there just yet because you only have 2 weeks of summer, and I only want to get there in one of those days of those 2 weeks. Linda Lenhart, thank you for being on the show from Chile, Orlando. Chip coming to you from a smelly warehouse this morning. I know you are, man. I'm sure it smells. Chip has been roasting coffee beans like they're going out of style. And so he's hammering out some coffee beans. Still got to get you, one of these days, we're going to go back to Roo's, to what I call the brew. B-R-O-O, Roo's Own Coffee. I went over there one day, and we mixed a few things up. I think we're going to bag some coffee just for fun. I at least need to have one bag sitting here, don't I? I think I do. All right. If I can get you to stop painting ballet dancers and hummingbirds long enough to make me a mix. Just kidding, brother. Deborah Spangler, Susan DeLay, thank you for being on the show. Lana Couch, Linda Lawless, Catherine Brosseau from France, or maybe La Baton Rouge. Tamberly, again, Linda Bennett, Mary Quayle, Randall Taylor Craven, June Jones, thanks for being on the show, liking your art. Teresa Emmerich, Kim Sheets, good morning. I see Kim on Saturday mornings. That's why we paint, Kim, so you can be on the show on Saturday morning. Renee, your art is branching out, and you got some skills, girl. Keep it going. Jackie Williamson Wallace. My gosh, that sounds like a royalty name if I've ever read one of. Megan McNevin, thank you for being here. And I love the fact that the G fell off of good morning. It just says good morning. Good morning. It's like the Gila monster is called the Gila. It's not called the Gila monster because they say it's G silent. And I'd always say to my friend Michael Ashburn, I know the G silent. That's why it can sneak up on you and pert near tear your leg off. Heather Kuhnman, thank you for being on the show. Stephanie Shepard, Alice Durham. Jason, welcome from New Jersey, man. Glad you're on this morning. Dolores and Chris and Carol Todd Mundy. Fern, thank you. Hope you got your 2 paintings. Raylene, listen, I got paintings scattered out. The post office knows me because I just harass them all the time. I'll say, hey, look, I got a phone call, got an email, painting hadn't shown up. And they go, oh, gosh, not you again. Yes, it's me again. All right, so here we go. Let's paint something this morning, and then I'll come back and say hello to some of you. Ann, thanks for being on the show. Denise Albright, Pat Brooks. This is the bottom of the morning for me. You people are getting up way too early. It's like Terry Tardy Turquoise from Coos Bay, Oregon. You got to get up before the chickens to see this show if you're out there in Oregon and California. So I appreciate you guys doing that. All right. Hey, blessings to you all. Yvette, thank you for saying practice, practice, practice. What size, Roost Crew fan page? What size what, Diane Lynn? What size can you post, or how big's the page? Just post a little snapshot. You don't have to just throw something up there. And it's so much better to throw them there than it is other places because that page is just for you guys to run. I don't even operate. I had to ask to be admitted into the page, which I love. So thank you guys for doing that. Hey, I drug out a couple books. Let's talk morning here. Here we go. You know about this book, right? Weird and Wonderful Words. It's by Erin, E-R-I-N, McKean. And the thing about Erin McKean is I sent her another note. This time I'm going to send her a video. It's not that I need anything from Erin. I just want to say thank you for allowing me to find this book for $1 at a used bookstore and then to start painting in it last year. 330-something days, I would just look in this book. I'd find a word, weird and wonderful word. I would then relate that word to my Roodoodles art. I'm the guy who paints crazy, whimsical, storytelling chickens and roosters. And so I'd find a word, and then I would lock that word in, just like agnate right here, A-G-N-A-T-E, a reaction by descent from a common male, especially on the father's side. So I thought, oh, agnate sounds like agnate to me. And so there's the little connection between the father and the peep. And so I would just do those very quickly for you guys. And then I got into ones like aquamanale, which is a bowl or a jug made in the shape of a bird or an animal. And so I would just go through this book. Here's what it did for me. Okay, why would you do something like this? Because you don't have anything else to do? Well, no. Because it instills creativity in my brain. And this is the thing about the English language or any language. Words are fabulous when you start finding meaning and what they mean and what they represent. And so I would just go through here and I'd find a word, and then I would paint something that represented that word in my art form. All right, so I ran out of this book. I just ran out of pages. And guess what I've just done moments ago before I went live on this show? There's a daisy right there, and we'll keep that open because I wish my yard had daisies, but it has those flowers that look like daisies, and that's what we're going to talk about today. Here's the thing. I just ordered her other book that's not Weird and Wonderful Words. Ready for this? It's more Weird and Wonderful Words. The hardback is coming. I found it out there on the old Amazon bookstore, which, by the way, you can find my book there. What a great segue into my own commercial. Roodoodles. Hey, Roo, what's a wheelbarrow? You can just type that in. It'll pop up. If you order it from them, you get it quickly. If you order it from me, you don't get it as quickly. And it costs you $4 more. Why? Because I paint original in the front and I'm about out. So I think there's 4 or 5 laying in the shop right now. And then there's more on the way. And that's not all on the way. I got some more mugs coming on the way and some bug out bags. I'm not selling my pocket knife. It's just not an option. I'll show you what I'm doing with it though. All right, so more's on the way. And then until then, I'm using this book, The Dictionary of Cliches. Just found it. My sister sent me this book in, looks like 2014, because she's tired of using it to hold down napkins on the picnic table. So if the music is a little too loud, it's Dvorak. You can blame it on him. I am working on a new pen. This is a brush on this end, but I've been whittling my pen on this end here. See? With a piece of river cane, bamboo. But right now, I'm going to just draw something right here. I was reading this. It said, cup of tea, not my cup of tea. Both of these words that I connected from here to here, both of the little cliches are sort of closer than I thought. And so just to warm up, for those of you who are new to the show, I always do something to just sort of warm up. So I like just coming in like this and painting something that gives me a little bit of a comfortable feeling, something that I know how to paint. So in this case, it's a mug. It just doesn't have to be wonderful. It just kind of has to be crude and make me think of, it's not my cup of tea. What would not be your cup of tea? Well, that would be maybe if it was a Roo here and he were making the comment and he's maybe standing on this. And in my case, what would that be? It would be chamomile. Yeah. So if people say, oh, I love chamomile tea. And this is where I'll use the quote from my friends at Make Mine a Builders again and say, hey, this country wasn't built on chamomile. All right, here's my paint. Today I'm using Cheap Joe's American Journey paints. Remember, I just put them in this small little palette because it helps me keep up with it. They really look like this when I buy them. They come in these tubes. This is, of course, some of my favorites are laid out here because I was going to add a little bit this morning. Here's ultramarine blue. Just throw a little bit more of that in there. I just take them and I squeeze them in here like so and put the lid back on them like so. Let me get rid of that little focus thing on my camera. There it goes. So much for being the technical crew here. This is a little Red Hot Mama. Yep. My friend Alan Levi, I'm going to talk about him in a few minutes. He could write a song about Red Hot Mama. I'm not sure what it would be, but it would be funny, I'm sure. And this, of course, is Gamboge. Gamboge, if you're from France. If you're from East Tennessee, it's Gamboge. I like it because that reminds me of mules. And this, of course, is French Gray. So I just, and this is a big tube. I usually just get small tubes because they're easy to transport. But, and small tubes are great if you're filling up a smaller pallet like this. You know, sometimes in my bug out bag, I carry a little tin with these little half pans in it. You're going to ask me, where do you get half pans? And I'm going to tell you off the internet, art stores, but you can probably buy a bag of them. There's those little half pans right there. What's cool about these little half pans is you can take them like this and buy those little magnets, you know, the little adhesive magnets like this. And you can set the half pans down. Man, you get an art lesson and a demonstration all in one when you're dealing with Roo. Okay, you stick it on there like that. Maybe if I had my knife out here, there we go, watch this. I'll just trim this magnet off like that. Zip, like this maybe. Never whittle toward yourself. Who made that rule? That's not true. And then, of course, I can stick those down in here. Fill them before you stick them in there. So, chkink, and I've got 6 colors in there. Look at this. Is that cool? Okay, so that's how I get my little tin. So I use an Altoid box. I use a little silver box like this one sometimes. I use, I just use, someone sent me one recently. Let me reach and get it right here. Ira sent this one to me. Look at this. It even has Roo 857 on it, and I'm getting ready to fill it. There's one in there now, which has a little magnet on it. I'm getting ready to put it in here, and I'll probably change the the palette colors in here a little bit. So when I pick this one up, I know I'm going in a different vein. Like if I were painting cats, which I don't, or dogs, which I shouldn't, or flowers, I might put something like my daughter's palette in here instead of the colors that I use. You've got to get used to using the colors that you love. If you just paint cardinals, then you need some Red Hot Mama or some Joe's Red or maybe some Cad Red, okay? If you're painting hummingbirds, you're going to need some cool greens and purples and things like that. So you might want to change your palette around accordingly. I still mix on the paper. All right, so that's your lesson in half pans and how I get my paints together inside here. What I do before I paint, I grab a little spray bottle like this one right here, pop the top, just a misting bottle, and I just wet these down a little bit. See this? I'm just spraying them with a little water here like so. Voila. Okay, I'm going to paint a warm-up painting, and then I got a story to tell you, so don't go away. It's just 9:15. Have a cuppa and pull up a chair. Anthony and Dvorak is playing in the background. He's always there to give me a little inspiration. Can't paint everything to Dvorak because it would just be, maybe that's what Picasso painted too. I don't know. I was looking for a little bamboo brush. Here's one. It's a Yatsutomo. So I'm going to wet it down a little bit, and I'm just going to go in and get some of that French gray and make this cup turn gray like this. And these are just warm-up sketches. This is how I get my wrist going here. I've been welding all week. And so, honestly, this is the last thing I've picked up in 5 days. I've been welding some I-beams, for heaven's sakes, for an artist friend of mine. Let's put a little steam going up from that. Now, let's just paint this roof. Why is it fun to paint on books like this? Because I feel like I can just be free and loose and make a mess and nobody cares. It's going to remain here in my studio. It's not going anywhere. It's just my art to be my art, doing what my art does. There's a time for that. And you're going to say, yeah, but Roo, don't you say that art should connect us? It does. It connects me to everything that I do because while I'm doing this, my brain is firing on all cylinders. Wow, look at this. I love painting on this book. Is that not cool? So what's going to happen is long after I'm gone from this planet, somebody's going to come along, some grandchild, there are 4 in my house today, some grandchild or some child of a grandchild, a great-grandchild or a great-great-grandchild is going to pick up this book and they're going to go, what was wrong with that man? Okay? What was he thinking? What was he working on that he had all these crazy things going on the side here? You know, that he was always painting or making something or doing something. I think there needs to be a little bit of green in this. I love this. I love painting over these words. I like sometimes when a word just pops out, you know. Doomsday is right there. Not my cup of tea. It means basically instead, it was a negative thing of I don't care much for what you're saying. It's really not my flavor. It's not my taste. The British were big on it's not my cup of tea. So Susan and all you folks from England who watch in the mornings and from Wales who are dipping the tea bags over there, hey, and leaving it in there to just brew and be steady. It's pretty fun when you suddenly realize that some things are just not your cup of tea and everything is connected. Did you notice that this rooster is standing on the bow, the spar of a ship? And so there's a reason for that. I'm going to show you what that reason is in a second because I've tied this other thing in here. This is how fast a creative idea can come together right here. I was reading this page. I just turned to it, and there it said, not my cup of tea. I didn't choose curry favor because, well, I'm not into curry. I don't even know what the word is. Kujel. I'll have to look that up. It's from Hamlet, I think. Anyway, but I love this one down here. Cut of his jib. I don't like the cut of his jib. I've heard that. I don't like the cut of his jib. Well, did you know that it goes back to 1823 when Robert Southey expanded the meaning saying certain people, you can tell where they come from by the cut of their jib. Small ships in the harbor have this little sail. And this little sail is a triangular shaped sail that's just shot out here on the front, and it's got some lines in it. It's got some lines tied to it that tie back into here and back out to there, and a little piece coming down. And it's called the jib sail for those of you who sail. And depending on the color and the style and which way it was hung and turned and how the top was wrapped, you could almost tell the shipmaker that built it or where it came from. So you could identify little people sailing in or people in little ships sailing in by the cut of their jib. And sometimes they were scoundrels, and sometimes they were carpetbaggers, and sometimes they were people who come to do good trading. And so you said, I don't care for him by the cut of his jib. And so that's where that comes from. So to me, it's a warm-up painting. Take a look at this. I just told you a story about tea selling in. The rooster, which is my logo piece that I do, that's my brand. I'm Roo, because my name means rooster, and there's my cup of tea. And so not my cup of tea, I could tell by the cut of his jib. So I just linked those two together. It doesn't always happen like that, but I have ordered Aaron's book, and this has been a fun, creative thing for me to do on warm up. Why do I tell you that whole story? Warming up is good because it allows you to just loosen up your hands and not come to your art desk so stiff and just like, oh, I just woke up, it's early, or in the afternoon, I'm so tired. It brings you something and it just inspires you. It's like someone phoning in an idea. So let me get to my story today because I want to paint something for you. And I want to tell you. So you see where this is going? I'm going to let this dry. And this has turned out to be a fun painting. I could go in and dip a little, I'm using a Lamy brush here, or a Lamy pen. I could go in and add some lines coming down like this. I could add a little bit of detail to this if I wanted to. But remember, this is just warm-up stuff here. And if I add too much right now, I'm going to go through the page. So I'm just going to let it dry like this down on the floor. Let me drop it down there, right there. And try not to step in it in a minute. All right, paint out of the way. So this week, I picked up some pre-emergent and I put it on my yard early on because I knew the rain was coming. I did it on Monday morning early. I knew the rain was coming in Tuesday, Wednesday. I wanted to let some of the, well, it's because amongst my weeds, there's a little bit of grass starting. And so I have to do that. And so as I'm wandering around, I'm small yard, but I'm wandering around my small yard. And I'm the guy who takes care of my yard. You know, I don't have a truck that stops. And there's a reason for that. And so I spotted one, the little yellow button that I thought, look at that. I've got a little daisy coming up. But as you get closer, you realize it's not a daisy at all. And so I wrote a poem about a dandelion. And I decided to see if I could draw one because I don't draw many flowers. My daughter draws flowers. And so I drew this little dandelion. I love this little paper to carry around in my bug out bag. It's just a little drawing paper. It's 80 pound. It's awesome with a thin pen. When I say a thin pen, a fine pen like maybe this Pilot. And so you can come in and you can just make awesome little marks here that just look like little explosions. And the dandelion is a flower that explodes. And so I was writing a poem about the dandelion, and I had sent a friend of mine another email about something else. He's a songwriter, storyteller, writer, was an attorney, studied more English than I'll ever know of the language, became a judge in a little town called Hamilton, Georgia, many years ago. And so I keep up with Alan. And in fact, I've gone and spent a couple nights on his farm. And I'm telling you, man, I love it. You drive into this little farm and it's the wonderful house. And he's got a studio house that he does his music in. There's a chapel there that has a great history. I don't want to ruin it for you yet. Because part of art is revealing things in both songs and art. See, I just tied those two statements together for you. So if your art is going to connect with people, they need to look through it and connect. Are you painting things that you don't love? Because if you are, you might be wasting your time. Paint things that you love. Paint things that you know. Paint things that you're connected to and how they connect to other people. That's why everything, one of my rules in Noodle Doodle Fiddle Piddle, the book that Pat's done her work on, that I'm still working on and getting finalized, is the little book that's coming out. A simple little book is just a page of a rule, really not a rule, but a suggestion or a hope. And then on the back page, a story. So all art should be fodder for storytelling. Because if you just do art for art's sake, it can be good for your mental health, but it needs to connect somewhere. If you just do it and it doesn't even connect to you, then I'm not saying you're wasting paper, but a simple twist of a turn. Like for me, the phrase, the cut of his jib, or not my cup of tea, in those cliches, that connects me with lots of people. And then I think about the sailing world and what I don't know, and the tea world, which I'm learning about and loving. And so you see how I've connected all that. So I set out this week to just paint a flower, simply because I don't hardly ever do flowers. I've not done my 50 or 100 of them to even get experienced yet, but I was doing one or two. My daughter does these great flowers, the flora, the fauna, the just avant-garde, and she puts words in with them and says great things. And so I thought, I'm just going to do a flower. So after putting my pre-emergent down on my yard, which I've always feel bad about doing because I hope it doesn't kill the clover that brings my bees in, or someone's bees, I painted this dandelion, and then I wrote this poem. And I got to tell you, this is how things connect in my life. You ready? Here it goes. I wrote this little poem. It's called The Dandelion. That's good, huh? If it's going to be a dandelion. And then it was only a day or so later that I was talking to my friend Alan Levi, and it's just like the pants, but not an S. Alan Levi, Allen. You need to look him up at alanlevi.com. So I sent Alan a note about something that I'd love for him to do. He's a singer-songwriter, great humorist, and a visionary of life and hope and faith, and just tying those things together in art. He doodles and he piddles, and we sat on his front porch and painted one day, and we made good food, and he's just one of my dear brothers. And so he can make a song out of anything. Not nothing, anything. And so for me, there's a connection there with Alan and I. I say a painting can tell a story about anything. And he says words can tell a story about anything. And we agree on that full-heartedly. So I wrote this poem, and then I happened to send him a note about a request of something that we're working on for a marketing thing in a ministry. And he said, oh, I'd love to do that. And during our conversation, I was telling him about what I've been doing. And that reminded me of listening to more of his music. And so when I turned on Spotify to find some of his music, which I hadn't done in a while, I just sent one of his songs to someone about a dog. He had a song that was called A Flower After All. And I went, he's got to be talking about a dandelion. And so I went, there's my poem. And then that song comes up. And then I was trying to paint one for my daughter, or just to say, hey, look, I'm painting a dandelion. And it's like painting nothing. You know, it's like painting ice cream melting. And so I wrote this. Here it is right here. I see them right off, standing with lion's teeth leaf. Did you know a dandelion, by the way, is called, in French, it's called the lion's tooth or lion's teeth, because of the sawgrass of the sawy, jagged edges of the leaves. In Latin, it's called dentis leonis, which means the lion's teeth. And so I did a little research here. I see them right off, standing with lion's teeth leaves, bright green, yet the little yellow flower that often deceives, balancing on a hollow pale stem of juicing thick milk, a dome rising and waving and looking like silk. In the sea of green fescue, like a light bulb in my yard, you just one, you say, ooh, but be on your guard. One little breeze and an attack will mount. Next morning's lawn, there'll be more than you can count. One neighbor says you can eat it. One says its tea has powers. Next door says, I have the yard of the month. Don't you dare call that thing a flower. His landscaper wants to spray it. The homeowner's opinions are intense. I pluck mine and hold it up and blow those little parachutes across my neighbor's fence. And so while I was thinking about this humorous little Shel Silverstein-esque poem that I wrote, I was painting this. And then I'm going through songs, and I hear this guitar start, and it's Alan Levi, because I'm looking through his Spotify music, and the song says A Flower After All. And I sat down, and I took a piece of paper, like this one right here, a little 8x8 piece, and I played the song, and I started sketching And here's what I came up with. I want you to watch it. I'm going to sketch one as it goes, too. All right, ready? Here we go. All right, so my friend Alan Levi and his song. It's about 3 minutes and 47 seconds. He's not a short songwriter, okay? And but I love this. Here we go. So for you music lovers, for you flower lovers, for you people who tend your own garden, here we go. My friend Alan Levi, and play it, Sam.
I know I did not plant you, and I'd gladly watch you leave. You are every gardener's nightmare. You're a most unwelcome weed. You've dodged the clouds of poison and the Roundup. You've survived. Despite the cruel treatment, you are very much alive. A nuisance and a bother, an intruder on this lawn. You just want to touch the sky, and I just want you gone. You've made it through the winter time, that ice and bits of snow. You seem to have one purpose, and that purpose is to grow. But now I look more closely to find petals very small. Those blossoms make it clear that you're a flower after all. I'll leave you now to be yourself. I'll put away my spade. When I see you, I see me too. How much alike we're made. I'll learn from your example, and I'll believe that it is true. I'll dig my roots down deeply, knowing I'm a flower too. And now I look more closely to find petals very small. Those blossoms make it clear that you're a flower after all. Those blossoms make it clear that we're both flowers after all.
So there you go. Hey, I just painted this one while that song was playing. Was that fun or what? Alan sent me a note, and I said, Alan, I want to use your song on the show because you know I'm very careful with artists and their songs and their music. And such being such a dear friend, he goes, "Oh man, I love it. Thank you so much." And I said, "But Alan, answer me this: were you really talking about a dandelion? Because it's time for me to face them." And he said, "Yep, that's the flower." And so he sent me a note and even sent me a text this morning. So, Alan, if you're watching this morning, blessings to you, brother. I love you much. You are one of my dear friends. And I'm telling you, that man can make a song out of anything. In Hamilton, Georgia, one year, he just went around and met a different person every day and wrote a song about them. If you want to get in touch with Alan, tell him I said hello. AlanLevi.com. And I think the website will pop up, and you might see a little strip of a chapel there. This little church is on the property, and he's a Renaissance guy. He's not only a farmer, he's a songwriter. He has guitar in every little nook and corner, and they're all tuned differently. I didn't even know how to play any of them. I'm going like, well, these chords don't work. He goes, oh, that's tuned to D augmented to the fifth, ninth or something. I'm going like, oh, right, yeah, of course. I'd have to have a fifth to drink one. So, to play one. All right, so there's a little, I just sketched that one in the time that it took me to do that song. And so could you make a whole show about dandelions? Maybe. That's the fun part about art. You just go down the hole, people, and you tend to stay there. And so this little milky piece, could I come back in with some, maybe I touched that with a little too much gray, but maybe not. Maybe this needs a little sweep of a blue sky, like so. A little water up here, maybe just kind of coming in and softening it up. And whoa, that's too much, don't you think? I can get rid of some of that. Look at that, just by doing that. And I can just pour the water on too and just go in here like this and make it work. So it's got a great voice. He's got a great guitar style. AlanLevi.com. You can find him. So yes, somebody asked me, hey, did you do that little painting as a video? And I did. I used Alan's music, and Alan, you just made 99 cents off of me because I bought that song on YouTube to put it in my show. So I didn't even download it. It wasn't a file free out there. But hey, if you're going to use artist stuff in your productions, make sure you either know the artist, contact the artist, and go from there. If you remember about last year sometime, I did a David Wilcox song called Leave It Like It Is, about dropping paint on the floor. And I called the producer and Wilcox and said, hey, I want to use this. And he said, well, it's kind of got all kinds of roots out there, but we're not going to say no because we would love for you to share it. And so always get permission if you can do that, okay? Before you share anybody else's images or use their stuff, or unless you're doing 50,000 verses of the Bible, I think you're free to print some of that, but you can't publish it and sell it. So anyway, art rabbit holes are always a fun trip. Becky Bailey, thank you for that. Yeah, the sky does add a little bit. And so if you're going to sketch dandelions, you got to just sketch them light, light, light. And here's where this fountain pen is not going to work. I'm going to show you what I'm talking about. Look at this. If I take another piece of paper, if I come in with this, even the finest point that I have in the fountain pen, and I do the little head of the bracts, as they call it, bracts. You got to learn some flower parts to do this. But if I come in here and do these little pieces coming up in a circle, and then I start to put the little what I call the seedlings, they're called downy tufts on the top. If I start to put those in like that, I can't really use a fountain pen. And here's why, because if I touch that with any water at all, you see what's going to happen. It just goes way too dark. So you might get by with a pencil sketch, or even I used a Pentel 05. If you had an 03 needle point, that might even work better. I'll show you the difference here. Look at the sketch right here. I think you can see what I'm doing. I'm pretty far away, but you get the idea if you're watching on the bigger screen. And then if I go get a little clean water, clean brush, wash that out, and just touch these, you see there's only a little bit of that bleed come in. And so you got to be real careful where you bring that in. You want some gray and white in there to show the tuftiness of that. So anyway, kind of a fun thing to do, to paint a dandelion. And don't forget these little guys out here, just in the sky, just going off like this, and sort of, and make them, they're a little random, okay? These are the ones I blow over my neighbor's fence. So don't, all right. I got to get rid of this page now that I've wasted a piece of paper. I'm just going to turn it over on the back and paint on the back of it. So there we go. All right. So what comes to mind on this rabbit hole? Line with pen, small oval on one end and an X on the other. The dandelion seed blowing in the wind. There you go. And isn't that fun? So you could be light and delicate and dainty, and sometimes you do that. This is such a transition from what I've been doing this week. I've been working with 6-inch I-beams and building different pieces for this office out of these I-beams, and I'm thinking, and every one weighed a lot. And so I had a couple of young men who were going to help me. But when you're working on an art project, sometimes there is some loneliness involved where you have to say, I'd love for you to help me and thank you, but I don't know what you're going to do, because I think my table's hitting my tripod here. Hold on, let me move that just a little bit. There we go. Okay, so let me paint a painting for you, just thinking like an artist. Ready? All right. Thinking like an artist. Here we go. So Alan Levi, blessings to you. If you send Alan a note on his site there, it may take him a while to get back to you, because he lives in a place where the internet is held together by two guys out in a field. And I was kidding him the other day. One of them wears a coat hanger on his head, and the other one is holding a whole lead of wires, and they're going like, no, yep, no, oh, got it. Hold, wait right there, stop. And so you have to make the phone call leaning with one hand on a big pine tree and the other hand on the rail of the fence, and then So I've been there, and it's a great little town of it's cotton country, it's corn country, it's pecan country. Don't say pecans. If you grow up there, you can, but it's pecans to us other northern Southerners. It's a great place to be. It's near Hamilton, Georgia, and look up his music, would you? AlanLevi.com. Here we go. Let's see. This should be a painting that came to mind, because can you make a whole painting show about a dandelion? Why not? We're all in the weeds anyway. That's why I'm playing Dvorak today. So here we go. Let's get a little rooster here. I'm always painting roosters, right? They're my storytellers. They're my go-to storyteller. That's exactly what they are. Dvorak's firing up here today, man. He's excited. Look at that. Just painted a chainsaw. It's not every day that you see going from... I'm gonna come in on this a little closer here for you. Just hold on one second here. Take me a little second to get there. Let me lay this down for a focus and see if we can make that work just a little better for you right there. Boom. All right, that'll help us a little bit right there. A little overkill, right? To be cutting off dandelions with a chainsaw, but that's what this is about. I'm going to change pins. Watch this. I just sketched with a Pilot ultrafine. I'm going to go in with my little ultrafine flare. Big difference between the two. One bleeds Payne's gray. The other bleeds. Remember what I do to do this? I just kind of put in some cross hatching. For those of you who were on the class last Wednesday, we did a whole thing on cross hatching and hatching, and I never knew there were so many. Notice so many poultry words in art: cross hatching, hatching, feather pens. See, it's all connected, people. You think I make this stuff up? I don't. Actually, I do. I just make some of it up on the spot. But all right. So what's so good about this painting? It's going to have a little reveal. I can see it coming already. Watch this. I love having little apple boxes in my paintings. They just make me laugh. There's something about those little slatted boxes with a little place here, fruit baskets from the farm. I love them. It also gives the little creatures in my paintings a little place to stand up. That's gets them up on the ground a little bit. See that right there? So he's coming in, and what's he doing? We should know already. Look. This one's down here. I just thought of this. This makes me laugh right here. And Pat just posted a little while ago, you make those little X's, and that's what you can do. You can cross them up just like this. And you can go in and do the little dips. Some of them are, most of them are kind of just, they're kind of symmetrical, these little downy tufts, okay? And there's millions of them, and there they go. All right. So I've revealed the point of the painting already. Some of you get it. You understand where this is going. I love it when they tell stories like this. Let's paint this. I'm going to add a little bit of water in here. Just painting with water first, keeping it loose. I'm not trying to fill in everywhere. I'm just trying to fill in the places where I want a little bit of paint to go. There's some right there. I'm going to pick up some of my French blue. Look at it. See it run on its own? Watch it. Watch it. Head down. Watch it, he says. Watch it. What's it doing? It's doing everything. Look at that. Man, this is what I love about watercolor painting. Is it unpredictable? Yes. Is it exciting? Oh my gosh. And I'm with Alan on this. The only thing that's a little more exciting than watercolor painting is when you're taking some of the words that you learn, and you don't have to build your words up with a thesaurus. It's hard to me for even to say that. You don't have to build your words up with that. You just use simple words that connect to people. My poem, I couldn't believe that Alan and I were even in the same ballpark. But it's just crazy connection that I sent him an idea, I'm painting something, and then I hear this song. And honestly, I think it's on a kaleidoscope, tap the kaleidoscope or something. And I think it's the only time I ever heard the song was this week. I know a lot of his songs. I know a lot of his music, but I'd never heard it, this breakdown of A Flower After All. And I started playing. I'm going like, oh my gosh, it fits. And I love the concept too of just thinking what's happening, going on in this painting. And what is that? Well, that is while this rooster is dealing with the problem right here, I want a little bit of this copper kettle. So you have to be fast-brained to jump in there and change directions like I just did. While that's going on, and he's taking care of this problem, what am I doing? The homeowners meeting is having this intense thing about banning and making your yard better and getting rid of all the dandelions. And what am I doing? I am I'm out blowing those little tufted silk puffs over the neighbor's fence. Okay, Dan, if you're Dan and Doug, if you're watching the show, sorry, I owe you. All right, need a little bit of gray on the gray bar right here. There's the chainsaw bar, and then of course I need a little bit of black on the handle. There it is, right there. I need a little black on the muffler, and then I'm going to go with the little chainsaw here. It's got to have a little orange in it. There it is, right there. There's the orange coming in. I'm still painting with the same big old brush, and what happens if I do that is I have to there, and then down here I need some. It just makes me be looser to do that. I'm going to get a little bit of this rocket green in here. Did you know rocket salad, rocket arugula, which is called the rocket lettuce, or arugula, and the dandelion are really not the same. They're two different families. They look alike, but one of them has a smoother round point, one of them has a sharp point. You did not know that you were going to get this whole education in what is it they're getting it in? Landscapeology. Rooology. It's called rooology. All right, so there we go. Need a little brown on this box. Let's just put a little right there. Touch it with my finger like that. I like painting with these brushes that God gave me. They're pretty fun. I'm going to come in here and get a little bit of this yellow for these little peeps. They're out here. And I see a caption already coming in my brain here. It's going to be fun to form that in. Let's get up here and just drop some sky in. Man, this sky's hard to paint, isn't it? If you're wasting time painting a lot of clouds, you're wasting time. Just have some fun with it. Look at that. And then I'm going to take this. I'm going to take a number 4 brush, this bamboo right here, touch it like this, and just go, dut, 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 dut. Okay. And then I always like to dirty up my paintings a little bit down here on the bottom, just like with a little bit of this going on. and maybe some green in the yard. Let me just get some of that green up here and just go right in here and just do a little green splatter like that. It makes it look like it's more real, you know, like real. Who am I kidding? This is the biggest cartoon I've ever seen. I want to just put a little chain on here and maybe some pieces going and some little lines so it's in action there. I want to come in with a number 7 needle tip pen, and I'm just going to add some little bit of texture there to the legs. Might put a little spur in here. He's out there spurring his friends on. It's an inside joke. Okay. All right, so there we go. Take a look at that. So you see this little painting? There he is cutting down the dandelions with a, yes, by the way, I did know Pauline Bowl just posted that dandelion flowers can be dipped in batter and deep fried. Yes, so can squash blossoms. By the way, so many parts of the dandelion are edible. And you go, wait just a second. It's a weed. You go, yeah, but you know what? God put them on the planet for some purpose. And so, man, when you start reading about all the things that they can do for you. So we're not talking about the poof, silky part. We're talking about the little, once that disappears, you got the little button of yellow flour. You can dip that in batter and actually crunchy. They're tasty. You go, hey, what are you eating? Dandelions. But that and the rocket lettuce are different. Okay, they look alike. They may even have some similarities, the peppery taste, but I will tell you this: they are from different. Plants, species, I should say. I'm going to get this small brush. I'm going to come in and get a little bit of this sienna here. Remember why I do this? I just touch the beaks of those little peeps with sienna because I want them to look. I want them to look a little different. I want their beak to stand out a little bit, and I might touch this with some orange right here. I think I need a little bit of green in the feather coming down like so, right there. And just for beauty, I'm just going to throw a couple little green spots right there. I'm liking that. I'm going to put some grass in the yard, and I'm just using my black pen for that. See that come in? All right, now I'm a little close here, so you can't see the whole painting, but that's it right there. All right, so what will I do? Well, it's going to need a little bit of detail. I'm going to take some of this out right here. Boop, there it is. Okay, the bar is a little more silver now, and I'm going to put a logo on there. Put a crank on the chainsaw. When this dries, I might do a little more detail to the chainsaw. Sometimes you have to do that once the painting is dry. I see a place too that needs a little more. This paper, by the way, because I turned it over, if you remember, there's a sketch on the back of the dandelion I was goofing off with. I turned this paper over, and it's a little slicker on the back than it is on the front. The front has a little more of the cold press feel of 140-pound paper. The back's a little more, not a hot press, but slicker. And when I used a lot of water, it literally ran a little faster and farther than I thought it was going to. Okay. So there it is right there. It just needs a caption. Ha! Got the last one of you. All right. He just thinks he did, right? Ha, I got the last one of you. So he's over here cutting the overkill, cutting the dandelions off with a chainsaw. And here's the peeps over here blowing out a million seeds. So can you do a whole show with dandelions? I think we just did. All right. But I'm going to paint one more thing for you before I go this morning. Love the conversation that goes on. Yeah, well, I know. Isn't that funny? You guys are so kind to jump on this show. Thanks for, I'm glad you liked Alan's song. Thanks for all the comments about that. And look him up if you want to. It's alanlevi.com. Dear friend of mine who's a heck of a songwriter. Chainsaws are good for toenails too. Yeah, that works, Ash, especially yours if you've been in the mountains too long. We know about you, brother. Hey, I'll post this painting just for a few bucks today, just for fun. If anybody's trying to get the yard of the month, okay. And what I might do here is come back in when it dries a little bit. I might do a little few pieces of detail. If you see some come in, you might see some more lines enter in here. You might see the little nose piece of the roo. You might see a couple nails loose on the box. I always like to do that. As Terry Tardy says, he says you might see this, and then I do it right then. That's kind of the way us fast-brain people work. Okay, got the last one of you. All right, might put another one over here flying off to the side like that. Put those little tips on them, and a couple little things going up here, just like this. All right, let me show you one thing that I did today that I started in the art class, but I wanted other people to see it too. I'm going to lay this aside right now and open this page up just a little bit here. Let me do this. Okay, give you a little bigger format. What I did was I started with this bamboo brush. The other day when I was painting with in the art class, I decided to do some pen and ink, and I challenged some of you to just go get a stick and whittle it into a pen. I remember most of my paper is in the last couple of minutes here of the show. This, of course, is fluid 100 paper. It's rag cotton. The piece I just painted on, oh, I dropped it down there. It's this. It's fluid paper, but it's 140 pound, but it's not cotton. It's not 100% cotton. It has some other fibers mixed with it. And it's still great paper. I like it very much. I do some mixed media paper, which is, we use a lot of that in the class. This is really slick vellum surface paper. And then, of course, I use my Kilimanjaro watercolor paper, which is some of my favorite 140 pound cotton paper. I love it. And Cheap Joe's keeps it coming to me, which I appreciate. I call them and say, quick, give me some, rush this down here. And all right, so let me just show you what this pen will do on this. This is the stick that I whittled for the class. And then I had an older bamboo brush here. And so Matsutoma bamboo brush. And so I just turned it upside down, took my pocket knife somewhere. I don't even know what I've done with it now. Oh, here it is. And I just literally whittled it into a little bit of a pinpoint. Just carving in here just a little bit like this. Maybe a little more of a circle around on this side, just rolling that out a little bit to give it a little bit of a pen shape like I would one of my fountain pens, you know? Okay, there you go. I'm getting there. See it? But instead of such a sharp point, I've gone into flattening it out just a smidgen. This is a pretty bold line. I think this is going to make a fairly bold line. And I want to take that just a little bit and smooth it up right there so the ink will maybe flow down. Let's see what happens. I haven't used it yet. It's brand new. So here we go. Just paint a little roux with some ink. This is Bombay ink. I have Higgins Black Magic. I have Bombay India ink. And I also have some Chinese ink here today that I could use if I wanted to. Here, let's just do that and see what happens. There we go. I'll just put the lid back on that. Open this Chinese ink. Drop this in like so. There's quite a bit. Let's see if I can, that's enough to get this soaked up here. Dip my pen in there like this. Ready? Can you see what I'm doing? And then I'm just going to sketch a fun little roux that's with this stick. I like this open little well here. That's kind of fun. More fun than I thought. So learn something every day. That's a bold line, I'll tell you that. So much bolder than, let me wash it out. So much bolder than this pen. Okay, this is the pen that I used on the painting class the other day when we were doing pen and ink. So here I can go in and get a little more detail. And those of you who loved Charlie Mackessy's book, The Boy, the Horse, the Mole, the Fox, all his paintings, if you haven't seen him paint, all his paintings are done with dip pens like this. He is a master at coming in and pressing this down and getting it to just drop at a point and making it work well. And by the way, I'll just tell you right now, that wooden pen Holds much more ink than the other one does. See that? And the top's a little thicker. Okay, I didn't get it down as. But here's what's going to happen. I'm going to put some of this in here, and I got 2 more minutes to go. Watch this with just this fun little pen and this experiment. There we go. Let's just make a little nice pen and ink drawing right here. There it is. Washed them both out. Washed out my new pen, the stick, and here we go. Let's grab a small brush. Let's just turn the brush. Oh, I could have just turned the brush around. Wouldn't that have been fun? There we go. I'll just turn it around, dip that in there. This is a ton of water, though, so I'm just going to let some of this block out and see what it does. Look. Drop a little bit of red in there just for show. Uh-oh, got into the black. Let's go back and see if I can get a little bit of red in this big old pen here, this big old brush, just to have a little bit of highlight in there. It might as well just do the beak in yellow since I've already added a touch of color. There's a little bit. I'm going to have to go into some, no, I'm going to go in right there and just see what happens. I like it. And a little blue on this this little hen over here watching him. Woo, that's too much. Let's see if we can get some of that out of there. Man, that holds a lot of paint. There you go. So, Saturday morning, and I'm playing and having a great time. Is all about a dandelion, and a friend who wrote a song had to track it down this week. Sometimes you would do a little research and figure out exactly what it is that you're painting. If you're painting, if you're John Robert Small and you're planting a lot of flowers, then you're going to know what they do. You're going to know how they react. You're going to know their parts, just like in roosters or dogs or whatever. So have some fun and just paint some, do a little bit of research. In that research, it might take you down an art trail that you learn something that you didn't expect you were going to learn. I learned a lot this morning or this week about dandelions, all because of me getting ready to put out some fertilizer in my yard. And I saw, ooh, I got some dandelions here. I better get those before they blow over to my neighbor. What if I just take them over there and blow them over to my neighbor's fence? Okay, so that made me think of writing a poem, and then I connected with Alan, and then Alan had a song that I didn't even know existed, A Flower After All. And so what a blessing, okay? So love art, love that you're painting along with me. And Susie, you're so welcome for introducing you to Alan Levi. Don't go anywhere without your paintbrushes and your paint, and I'm going to add to that list, and a good pocket knife. Of course, this is a Swiss Army little flat knife that I really like it. They're not a sponsor yet. Hey, be blessed. I will see you guys, Lord willing, Monday after another cup of tea. I'm going to go make some breakfast for the grandkids, and what a blessed day. I'm ready to almost rest some after welding I-beams all week. Thanks for being on the show. I appreciate you all. You can find information about Roodoodles.com. You can subscribe to an email list on Roodoodles.com. Why would you want to do that? Because every now and then I send out an email. Did you know you can, if you wanted to show someone this page, you could hashtag Roodoodles or Michael Hahn or Watercolor Roosters, and it'd pop up on YouTube. And you can also subscribe and like YouTube. I'm going to start building that audience because we're going to do some fun stuff on YouTube coming up this year. Do you realize it's been a year ago that I started learning how to do this? In about a week or so is the first time that I went live. I think it was March 20, somewhere between the 22nd and the 28th in there. Terry Tardy could probably tell you. Terry Tardy Turquoise out in Coos Bay, because she's been riding herd on almost all these shows, she and Pat. Thank you for what you're doing. I'll keep you posted on mugs, bags, and Noodle Doodle Fiddle Piddle, the book of rules coming out. And also, the other book that I'm going to launch is called Robots, Roosters and Small Farm Equipment Put Together. Be creative, even if you have to go whittle a stick and dip it in some ink. Draw on something today. Take a sip right now. Think of a couple people. The one that comes to mind, send them a text right now and say, I appreciate you. See you later. I'm out of here. Where's my harmonica? I can't really play it, but man,